Hello, I'm Florine and welcome back to a new episode of Raising Children on APSU TV. Each show will be bringing you parenting tips and special insight on children and their thoughts. As parents, we need to love, guide, support, pray for, and educate our children. I have a 7-year-old son myself, and I realize that I don't always have the answers that are needed. And so on today's show, we are going to be discussing our children's nutritional needs. This is a topic that many parents desire to do right from the start, but have difficulty maintaining as children mature. Many parents may not even think about this topic at all. This leads to the fact that most children have poor diets at a later age, which can increase the risk of different cancers, energy imbalance, weight gain, overweight, obesity, and the list can go on. So today we are joined by Dr. Ann Black of our very own Austin Peay State University Health and Human Performance Department to give us some insight and some information to help us to train our children as well as us as parents on how to eat better for life. After the break, we will discuss why nutrition is important and the things, so we'll be right back.
What was your excuse?
I couldn't make it to classes on campus.
I didn't want to be the old guy in class.
I didn't think I could afford it with my GI Bill benefits.
Work was my excuse.
Austin Peay State University is putting an end to the excuses.
You've been in that desk for years, waiting for the next bell to ring. Now it's time to stretch your legs and your limits. Get up, get moving, get on with your life at Austin Peay.
Come on, let's go. One in.
Go!
Stop. Let's go. Come on in. Got a lot more room here. Go. Come on in.
'86 in Honolulu today. Nice.
Hi, Professor. Can you help me here? I wrote all this down in class, and well, when it came to the homework, I just would you mind going over some of it again with me?
Springtime in Paris.
Hello? Are you even listening? I need help.
For you, college isn't just about earning a degree. It's about earning their respect, getting their attention, and setting an example for them. That's why our programs are designed for you and them. Austin Peay State, keep earning a living and living your life, all while earning your degree.
Welcome back. I'd like to welcome our guest. She is a registered dietitian and she teaches one of Austin Peay's nutritional courses as well as the health disparity course. She's received her doctorate at the University of Connecticut and she is married to her wonderful husband, Cale Black, who also teaches in the profession of art. And she has 2 handsome sons of her own. And I would like to welcome Dr. Ann Black. Welcome.
Thank you, Florine.
How are you feeling on today?
Great, thank you.
Good,
Beautiful
good,
October
good.
morning.
Yes, I'm loving the weather we're having here at Austin Peay. So let's get into the heart of the matter.
Okay.
You're a mom, I'm a mom, we're parents here, and eating right is just, sometimes it can be hard.
Challenging.
And so, yeah, that's the good word right there. And so we start off, we get pregnant and we start off with our doctors and they tell us, okay, you got to drink all this milk and all this water and you got to eat this and eat that. So our doctors kind of give us the push. But where would we go after our doctors and things like that for additional help?
Okay. So first off, I'm going to say, of course, your child's pediatrician or healthcare provider. That's a person who's really monitoring the child as years go by and can identify early on if there are any problems. So most children don't have problems, though, and still parents worry.
Yes.
So then the question becomes, where can you go then? The first thing I'd like to tell people about and give a shout out to is our First Lady, Michelle Obama.
Yes.
I think most people are aware that she has been really a force for good nutrition and health for our children.
Yes.
And I think she deserves big kudos. She has a wonderful website that's called Let's Move. That's the name of her website. And it is just chock full of tips and things to remember. There's a special section for parents and caregivers. There's a section about schools, so if parents want to become active with what's going on in the schools, that provides a resource.
Wonderful.
It's really a wonderful, wonderful website. She has worked so hard. Most people know about the White House garden and getting people to consume fresh fruits and vegetables, but she's also done a lot of work with children and school meals. And so there's just wonderful stuff at this website, Let's Move. So that's first and foremost.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, a second really good resource is another website that has a lot of information for parents and children, and that's called ChooseMyPlate.gov. Unfortunately for our viewers today, that is a website of the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and it happens to be closed currently because of our little problems in Washington.
Of course.
But once that's over with, and I'm trusting it will be over with, Choose My Plate, excellent. And I think most parents know, probably from middle school, if they think back long enough, about the food groups.
Of course,
Yeah, and
yes.
that is the place to start. I mean, it's not overwhelmingly complex. Choose My Plate is like my pyramid used to be, and many people know about my pyramid. And we think about the food groups. We think about fruits and vegetables and grains, dairy products and protein foods. Most people think about meat for that.
I do.
Yes, but it includes seafood, it includes eggs, it includes nuts, it includes seeds, and it includes beans. And we have a lot of wonderful foods with beans in them. People sometimes think, what are those? But most people are already eating some of those foods, like chili and soups that already come with those. So it's not a big stretch. Those are the food groups that we look to. And we look for people to get some foods from each of those groups all throughout the day. So a variety of foods from those food groups, not complex, just 5 of them. And then the other thing I would mention is, and that I do have to mention, is the other counsel that goes along with this variety is moderation. As you mentioned, weight gain is a problem, and even among our children, very much a problem. And so we are concerned that people are moderate in choosing from these groups, not too much.
Yes, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. But thinking about the pyramid and eating right and healthy, you know, starting out as a parent, you know, you're doing great, you get them on track, and you get to go down the baby aisle and pick all your favorite Gerber foods, and like, ooh, they get to eat mashed carrots, something I wouldn't eat, but we're going to put it in your throat. But I would like to say, with the way that things are increasing now, you know, we go to the pump as parents and we're gassing, we're looking like for the cheapest 3 cents we can save. But even eating healthy, like you said with the pyramid, the cost of food is going up. So how can we maintain eating healthy with the cost going up?
Well, first I'd say eating well is really important, and it's worth the money you would spend on it. I think sometimes people think that perhaps their cable bill is more important than the food they put in their children's mouth. And I would say one thing we have to say in the United States is that food is important. In general, we have relatively low food expenses compared to the rest of the world, and we spend less of our disposable income on food than many other parts of the world. And so first of all, I'm going to make the argument that food is important to spend money on.
Exactly. Okay.
So that being said, we do have to think about how to save money and use our pennies, our dollars well.
Yes.
So there are a couple things. One, I would point out that eating out is incredibly expensive,
It is.
And many people eat out because of the time factor. It's very difficult to get home, to get the food on the table. And so the easier thing is just to swing by someplace, I will point out that that's expensive, And so if you're complaining about food and you're eating out a lot,
weigh your
don't
options.
eat. Yeah, weigh your options. Secondly, food goes on sale. And so it's important for people to think about what's on sale in a grocery store during the week and to shop accordingly. Meat has sales. So think about what's on sale that week and buy chicken thighs, for example, the week that they're on sale. Okay, and don't buy beef that week, or buy the hamburger on the week that it's for sale.
That makes sense.
In terms of fruits and vegetables, they come and go in and out of season. And so people should be watching for the summertime when tomatoes are low and peppers and cucumbers and green beans come in and their price is lower than it is in the wintertime. In the wintertime, if you look more toward winter vegetables, things that have been grown and stored, for example, potatoes, sweet potatoes, carrots.
You're making me hungry now.
Yes, citrus comes in during the wintertime, so start looking for citrus then and not strawberries. Those
Very
kinds
true.
of things. Strawberries in the summertime, citrus in the winter. So there are things that are there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Third, in terms of protein, sometimes alternate sources are less expensive. And so that I mentioned beans and legumes, black beans, garbanzo beans, kidney beans, all those kinds of things.
Absolutely.
Very often their protein quality is really high, and so sometimes people don't like to eat them alone, but if you add a smaller amount of meat, thereby saving the money on a large portion of meat, but mixing it with beans, you're saving money on a great entree there.
Nice. That's a good idea. Might have to take you up on that one.
So I do think that cost is a problem for people, but there are these kinds of tips to think about shopping wisely.
Yes.
Also, nutritionists always recommend that people have a grocery list or the outline of a grocery list when they go into the supermarket. So they're kind of not at the mercy of just walking down those aisles and picking things off the shelves, because you must realize that a grocery store is a place where advertising takes place.
Absolutely.
And so there are lots of temptations to buy things that you might not buy, that might be more expensive than other things that you would buy, just because you walk down the aisle and it's at eye level and looking, you know, bright and sparkling, and so you think, oh, what a good idea this is, but maybe it's more expensive. Okay? We certainly know that about children's cereals. That cereal aisle is just packed, and what's at children's eye level is always the most sweet and glamorous of the cereals, and maybe not the most cost-effective ones.
You are absolutely right. I sitting here listening to you, I'm thinking about the grocery store. Like, I do go in with a list. I do try to go through the cabinet and say, okay, well, we definitely need this, or we try to set aside the sugars and the wants as like a special treat. And so we try, and I'm also trying to push my husband too, to eat right and to do these appropriate things, because as parents we try to if I'm gonna do it, then he'll see that it's good for him to do. But there are also things for children as parents. We do the push in the initial beginning, but what can we expect as children mature? I have a 7-year-old, and then you have grown sons, which they're okay, but when they come home and want a snack, you got to have things readily available. What can you expect as a parent as they mature and the expectation there?
Yeah. Well, you mentioned that you are trying to get your husband to be a good role model.
I'm trying.
And I do want to say that parents are incredibly important to what goes on for a child in food, because the home is the first learning place.
Absolutely.
There's a kind of motto we go by in the nutrition field, and that is, with respect to children, that parents are responsible for what and when and where children eat. And children are responsible for how much they eat. Okay? But it's the parent that's responsible for everything else as far as what appears. So that therefore, as children get older, it becomes increasingly difficult for the parents to model the family they want to have. But nonetheless, it's still very important for them to do that.
Absolutely.
One way that parents can help as children get older is for parents to allow children to cook with them, cook with them and shop with them. It used to be we had a lot of respect for people who cooked for us and put the meal on the table. We had incredible respect for those people.
Absolutely.
My students still have incredible respect for those people, although the people they most often mention is a grandparent when they talk about
true.
that. Okay?
That is true.
But that would be something that would be terrible to lose, that kind of respect. And so it is possible for a parent to teach about shopping. Shopping when you go into a grocery store, if a child comes, because that's a task that happens on a Saturday, then you're teaching a child about money and quality, all kinds of things that you as a parent beyond food want them to know about.
That's true.
In addition to shopping, cooking as children develop is really important. Now, I was not always the best at this, because when I was in the kitchen, it was, I just got home from work, let me get in there, get something done on the table, and that's it.
Yes, be finished.
Yes, my husband, who also cooks, was much better at involving our children and showing them how to chop things up, getting them to cook pancakes and waffles on a Sunday when there was more time. He really had this more laid-back attitude in the kitchen, and that can be really important.
That is.
And that's great. And as children develop, they have increasing skills. So of course you're not going to give perhaps your 7-year-old the sharpest knife in your kitchen.
Right.
But you know, there are tasks that he can do. He can wash things, he can scrub things, he can break things or tear things if that's what needs to be done.
Absolutely.
Okay, so many tasks are there. Setting the table, things like that, to involve children as they grow older. And for parents who don't feel comfortable with their cooking skills, I would point out that the library here in town, the children's section, has a fantastic section of, I think, over 200 cookbooks for children.
Wow.
I took a look at it last night because I knew I was coming on to speak with you, and I found the ballerina cookbook and the manga cookbook and the Hunger Games cookbook and my first cookbook.
Wow.
And they're really tremendous resources, and generally, depending on what age child they're directed toward, they can give parents tips about what are appropriate skills. So if you're thinking, can I let my child do this? That cookbook is going to include this kind of thing, like here's the safety tip, make sure that.
Oh, nice.
So a tremendous resource and a great place to go with your child and just pull out something that's fun and interesting.
Exactly. I'm
So
thinking I might have to take a trip to the library. I don't know about everybody else,
Worth
but
it.
I'm gonna
Definitely
have to.
worth it.
I'm gonna
Yes.
have to go to the library. My son loves to read, so that'll be a field trip already in itself. And you know, as parents, I do encourage the taking your children with you to go shopping because I have my son help me to make the list. So that helps with his spelling and recognizing words and matching. And so I thank you for that. That just reminded me like, oh, I might need to go to the store and do some more shopping, but stick to my list and shop in the better section. So in conjunction with nutrition, you know, we have time, like you said, sometimes we don't have the time to get into the kitchen and do different things, but what other things can we incorporate with nutrition to kind of give it that jump start? So what else could be connected to that?
The other thing I'm going to mention is the thing that Michelle Obama is really good about, and that's what she named her website, Let's Move, and that's physical activity. Okay. When we think of food, what food is for us is energy or calories.
Okay.
And it needs to be balanced by how physically active we are. That's the entire balance. Food on one side and physical activity mostly on the other side. And so parents really need to make the connection between physical activity and food. A child who is more physically active needs more food, and a child who is not particularly physically active doesn't need as much food.
Okay.
And because all children need food to grow, that real difference is going to be in terms of things like snack food and desserts and things like that. A child who is very active needs some of those kinds of things.
Right.
So my children who were pretty active, when they came home from school, they could have a snack, and it was a couple cookies and milk. And that made a good snack for them because they were very active, and I didn't feel terrible about giving them cookies because I had given them a good lunch and I was going to give them a good supper, and that was appropriate.
Right.
Okay. But for children who aren't very active, a much better snack would be some carrot sticks or grapes or something that would be delicious, because grapes can be delicious and fruit cut up can be delicious too.
Absolutely.
But you just need to be careful of how many calories, how much food you're eating in relationship to physical activity.
Nice, nice. Well, I might have to let's move and visit that website like you
should.
keep talking about. Lastly, I would like to ask from you, from maybe all the experiences you've been through, maybe other parents that you've spoken to, what kind of tips or advice would you give a parent that's just starting, or maybe in the midst of conception, getting ready to have a baby, to ones that are, you know, like yourself and myself that already have a children, to kind of get back into the swing of things to promote good nutrition and eating right?
Well, I'm thinking really the focus we'd like people to look at is good quality food. At all parts of the lifespan, wherever you are, think about real food, think about whole foods. Don't think about packages so much, really, but just foods that can come to you in a healthy way and be part of a healthy lifestyle.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that. We'll be back after this.
The military forces of the United States have defended our country. The Revolutionary War produced battlefield heroes and statesmen. Our national unity was settled by the Civil War. America strode onto the world stage with the Spanish-American War and to turn the tide in World War I. American military forces were instrumental in World War II and distinguished themselves in Korea and Vietnam. American military might led to victory in the Cold War and today has the lead in the global war on terror. Military art may be the art that enables all other arts to flourish. Study the history of that essential art. Earn an MA in military history at Austin Peay State University.
Let's go pee!
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 Austin Peay in the last 2 years has added more opportunities for students to study abroad, including additional exchange program opportunities for students to study abroad for an academic year or a full semester, and also short-term study abroad opportunities for that student that can't afford to be gone for more than a few weeks.
For one, you get an opportunity to live in a foreign country.
I got to travel around Europe and have a great time, all while earning college credit.
Tremendously mind-broadening.
I learned the language, and I was always fascinated with the culture and the people.
First-hand experience on the culture. I got to taste the food.
So if you're looking for a great experience,
So if you're looking for a really great experience,
come take a look.
Come take a look.
Come check out the study abroad program.
Well, welcome back. First, I would like to thank our very own Dr. Ann Black here from our Health and Human Performance Department for her valuable information on children's nutrition, teaching children about eating right or eating properly at an early age and to develop them into well-rounded adults in the future. And as parents, it is our place to train them and guide them in this portion of their upbringing. For further information on nutritional programs for our children, make sure you check your local schools, our state Department of Health, or even just simple Google. Thanks for watching. I'm Florine Hurdle on Raising Children. We'll see you next time. Have an awesome day.